Hello everyone, my name is Nancy. I'll be taking physics for DMLT and paramedical courses. So in this session, we'll be studying chapter number 2 of physics, that is dynamics. So in this session, this is part 4 of the chapter number 2. If you have not watched part 1, 2, 3, please go and watch part 1, 2, 3. Let us begin with the question answer. Okay, we were in question number, till now we have finished question 18. So, sorry, till 17. Let us move on to the question number 18. Question number 18 says modules of elasticity. Modules of elasticity. So, see, modules of elasticity, the definition of modules of elasticity is nothing but stress to the strain. It is the ratio of stress to the strain. Let us define the modules of elasticity. So let us define this. That is it is the ratio of the stress in the body, stress in a body to the corresponding strain, to the corresponding strain. Here strain is nothing but as in bulk, as in bulk modulus, or shear modulus. In shear modulus, it is shear modulus, or Young modulus, or in these are the three models in modulus. So this is the definition of models of elasticity. That is, it is the ratio of stress in the body to the corresponding strain. You can simply write ratio of stress by strain. These are the two. This is the formula of models of elasticity. Models of elasticity. Okay. Let us move on to the next one. That is question number 19. Okay. Question number 19 says, explain the principle of conservation of energy. Let us write the principle of conservation of energy. Question number 19 is principle of conservation of energy. Define principle of conservation of energy. Let us define the conservation of energy. It is the conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one form to another form. This is the definition, or you can say it is the meaning of. Okay. The statement, that is principle of conservation of energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one form to another form. Hence, the total amount of energy in the universe will be always same, that is always constant. Let us write the definition of this. Okay. So the definition is energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one form to another form. So this is the definition of another form. Okay. Hence, the total amount of energy in the universe is always constant. Hence, the total amount of energy will be always constant. Always constant. So this is the definition of, you can say, the principle of conservation of energy constant. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one form to another form. Hence, the total amount of energy will be always conserved, or you can say constant, remains constant. Okay. Let us move to the next one. Next one is define power. To define power. Next one is question number 20. That is power. Let us discuss about power. Okay, let us define power and write the formula. We'll write the formula of power. Okay. So power is nothing but rate at which the work is done. The power can be defined as, it is defined as a at which rate at which the work is done. Work is done on an object, you can say. It is called power. This is the definition of power. So power is equal to, we can say, work by time. This is the formula of power. Okay. Power here, power can be, power is nothing but it is time based. Power is basically time based quantity, which can we can simply relate like this. You know, the person who can work faster is more powerful than the person who can work slower, right? So we can directly relate it to the, it is related to time, right? So this is related to how fast the work is done or the job is done. So this is the definition of power and also meaning of power. And the SI unit of power is watt, or you can say joules per second. The SI unit of power is watt. It is represented as capital W, or joules per second. Okay, this is the SI unit, and the commercial unit of power is, it is horsepower. It is horsepower. The commercial unit of power is horsepower. You can say 1 horsepower is equal to 746 watt. This is the commercial unit of horsepower. Okay. This horsepower is sometimes, this horsepower is used to measure the power of the motor or other machines, which can be measured in horsepower. Right? The power of the motor or some machines can be used in horsepower. Okay. Next one is, we'll define average power. We'll define average power. Average power. Let us define average power. Okay, average power is defined as average power is defined the total energy consumed, the total energy consumed, uh, divided by the total time taken, divided by the total time taken. Okay. In simple language, we can say that the average power is the average amount of work done or energy converted per unit of time. We'll write that also in simple language. In simple language, we can say that we can say that average power is the average amount of, we can say that the we say that the that average power, we can say that average power is the average amount of, is the average amount of work done, average amount of work done, or energy converted per unit time, or energy converted per unit time. Let us write the formula of this. That is power is equal to work by time. The formula of power is power uh, power is equal to work by time, or we can also write like this. It is also, we can write power is equal to energy by time. Power is equal to energy by time. We can use both the formulas. Or so this is the complete information about power, or simply we can shorten and we can write like this: work by time. So this is the complete information about power. Let us move on to the next one, that is hemodialysis principles. Next one is hemodialysis principles. Next one is question number 21, says hemodialysis principle. Hemodialysis principles. Let us define the hemodialysis principle. Here, the principle of hemodialysis is the same as the method of dialysis. The principle of hemodialysis is the same as the method of hemodialysis. That is, it involves it it involves a diffusion of solutes. It involves diffusion of diffusion of solutes diffusion of solutes across a semipermeable membrane. Across a semi-permeable membrane. Across a semi-permeable membrane. So here in hemodialysis, it is the diffusion of solutes across a semi-permeable membrane. That is, hemodialysis utilizes hemodialysis utilizes counter current flow. Utilizes counter current flow where the dialysis is flowing, where the dialysis is flowing in opposite direction. Dialysis is dialysis. It is dialysate is flowing in opposite direction to the blood flow. To the blood flow in the extracorporeal circuit. In the extracorporeal circuit. Let us repeat this. Okay. Hemodialysis principle says it involves diffusion of solute across a semi-permeable membrane. This is the first point. Hemodialysis utilizes the counter current flow where the dialysate is flowing opposite direction to the blood flow in extracorporeal circuit. In the circuit, here the dialysate will be flowing in this direction, where the blood flow will be in this direction. So opposite. So the flow of dialysate will flow in opposite to the direction of the dialysate. Okay, this is the first point. Next, in the second point, we'll write The dialysis solution is used in the next point. The dialysis solution, the dialysis, the dialysis solution is a dialysis solution that is used, maybe a sterilized solution, maybe a sterilized solution, sterilized solution of mineral ions. That is, the dialysis solution is used, maybe a dialysis solution of mineral ions. Okay. Okay. This is next one. In the next one, urea, comma, other waste products, other waste, other waste, urea and other waste products, such as like other waste products, potassium, 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 and phosphate, and phosphate, and phosphate diffuses into the dialysis solution. Diffuse into dialysis solution. Into dialysis solution. Here, the urea and other waste products such as potassium and phosphate diffuse into the dialysis solution. And the next point, the same thing is, however, the concentration of sodium and chlorine, concentration of sodium and chloride chloride are are similar similar to similar to those of normal plasma. Those of normal plasma to prevent the loss. To prevent the loss. Here, in this, the concentration of sodium and chlorine is similar to the dose of normal plasma to prevent the loss. Okay, the plasma in the blood is meant, it will maintain the sodium and chlorine ion in the concentration of plasma, okay, to prevent the loss. Next one is, the sodium bicarbonate is added in higher concentration than the plasma. And the next point in this is sodium bicarbonate, that is NaHCO3. Sodium bicarbonate is added is added in a in a higher concentration than higher concentration than the plasma to correct the blood acidity. Plasma to correct blood acidity. Okay, the small amount of glucose is also commonly used, and a small amount of glucose is also commonly used. Okay. Here, sodium bicarbonate is added to the higher concentration than plasma to correct the blood acidity. And the next one is, the small amount of glucose is also commonly used. Okay, this is the complete information about hemodialysis. Let us move on to next question. That is the last question of this chapter. That is osmosis. So question number 22nd. Okay. The question number 22 is osmosis. Osmosis. Okay. Let us discuss about osmosis. Okay. Here, osmosis is the process by which the molecules of solvent pass from solution to the low concentration to the higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Let us write the definition of osmosis. Here, osmosis is the process. Osmosis is a process. Is a is a process by which the molecules of solvent the molecules of solvent pass from a solution of low concentration or concentration lower concentration to a solution of higher higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Through a semi-permeable membrane. Yes, a semi-permeable membrane will allow only selective particles to pass through it. This is the meaning of semi-permeable membrane. Okay, semi-permeable membrane. Let us repeat the definition of this. Here, osmosis is the process by which the molecules of solvent pass through the solution of lower concentration to the higher concentration. For example, if you take a beaker which is having a particular concentration, let us assume, and if you place some, you can say RBC, red blood cell. If you place RBC, so RBC, which is having higher concentration, the concentration is very high compared to the concentration of this beaker. Okay, the concentration of beaker is the solution contained in the beaker is less. Obviously, the solvent will move from lower concentration to higher concentration, and the diffusion will take place. Ultimately, it will become turgid and it may burst. The RBC may burst. So basically, it moves from higher concentration. That is, the solvent moves from the solution of low concentration to the higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. RBC contain RBC is having a semi-permeable membrane across it. Okay, it can move through semi-permeable membrane. This process is called osmosis. Okay, let us write there are three different types of solutions. So there are three different types of solutions. There are three different types of solutions. Three different types of solutions. Let us discuss one by one. That is isotonic. First one is isotonic solution. Second one is hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution. And the third one is hypotonic solution. Third one is hypotonic solution. Let us discuss or let us see the meaning of all the three. So here isotonic solution means first one is isotonic solution. Here isotonic solution means Isotonic solution is one that has the same concentration of solutes, same concentration of that has same concentration of solutes both inside and outside the cell. Outside the cell. That is basically, it means a beaker containing the same concentration of solution as that of RBC. We have assumed that if the concentration of the solution the solute contain a solute or solvent, whatever it is, it contains same amount of concentration as compared to this cell, then this is called isotonic solution. We'll discuss the next one. I mean, same. The concentration of this and this will be same. It is concentration of solvent contained in the beaker is equal to the plasma contained in the cell. Let us move on to the next one, that is a hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution. Let us discuss hypertonic solution. Here, hypertonic solution is the one that has higher solute concentration outside than the cell contained in the inside. Let us write that hypertonic solution is one that has a higher concentration uh, higher concentration outside outside the cell than inside. That is, the concentration of the concentration of solute is higher concentration outside than the inside. It is called a hypertonic solution. That is a beaker, or which has higher concentration compared to the cell which is having lower concentration. Ultimately this solution is called hypertonic solution. Hyper means more. Hypertonic solution. Hyper means more. You can think it as more. It is more than the concentration of cell, right? The solution outside the cell is more compared to the inside the cell. Then it is called as hypertonic solution. The third one is, last one is hypotonic solution. Let us discuss that also. And third one is hypotonic solution. Okay. Here in hypotonic solution is the one that has a higher concentration inside the cell than outside. That is, let us demonstrate with a diagram. For example, this is a cell, okay, which is dipped in a solution. The concentration of this cell is more compared to the concentration of this solvent. So we can call this as we can also define like this: the concentration of outside the cell is lower than the concentration of cell inside. So basically this type of solution is called hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution. It is the concentration of solvent contained in the beaker is lower than the cell is called hypotonic solution. Basically, hypo means lower, right? So let us discuss the types of osmosis. And the last concept is that is types of osmosis. Types of osmosis. Basically, there are two types. That is, there are two types. Two types. First one is endosmosis, and the second one is exosmosis. Let us discuss one by one. First one we'll discuss about endosmosis. Endosmosis. Let us see the meaning of endosmosis. Here, when a substance is placed in a hypotonic solution, the solvent molecules move inside the cell. Then the cell becomes turgid and deplasmolizes. This is known as endosmosis. Let us write that when a substance is placed in a hypotonic solution, in a hypotonic solution, that is lower concentration compared to inside the cell solution, the molecules the solvent molecule the solvent molecules the solvent molecules move move inside the cell. The solvent molecule move inside the cell, and the cell becomes turgid, and the cell becomes turgid or deplasmolizes deplasmolizes or deplasmolizes. Okay, na? This is known as endosmosis. This is known as endosmosis. So let us demonstrate with a diagram. For example, this is a container or a beaker. Okay, and this is a no, beaker containing a solution which has lower concentration compared to the cell inside the concentration. If the cell inside the concentration higher, then in the next process, the solvent contained in the beaker will move inside, and the cell will become turgid, and sometimes it may burst also. So let us, okay, and this cell may become turgid. Sometimes it might burst because uh, the the concentration will move from outside the beaker inside the cell. Okay, this has become turgid. Okay, this process is called endosmosis. Let us discuss the next one, that is exosmosis. Next one is exosmosis. Second one is exosmosis. Exosmosis means when a substance is placed in a hypertonic solution, the solvent molecules move outside the cell, and the cell becomes flaccid and plasmolizes. This is known as exosmosis. Let us write that when a substance when a substance is is placed in a hypertonic solution, hypertonic hypertonic solution, the the solvent molecules solvent the solvent molecules move outside the cell move outside the cell, and the cell becomes flaccid, and the cell becomes flaccid, and the cell becomes flaccid or deplasm or plasmolyzes or plasmolyzes or plasmolyzes plasmolyzes. This is known as exosmosis. This is known as exosmosis. Okay. Okay, let us demonstrate with the figure. Okay, this is a beaker which is containing a solvent which is having higher concentration. The solvent containing higher concentration compared to the concentration of cell in concentration is less than the outside. The cell concentration is less. Okay. In the next process, the 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 moisture contained in the cell will move outside the cell. Okay. The concentration from the cell it will be moved to the beaker. In the next process, this will become a flaccid, and the cell become like flaccid. Okay, because the moisture contained in the inside of the cell has moved to outside the cell. That is become flaccid because of the moisture content inside the cell has been moved to the solvent outside this and to the beaker, right? So that is the reason, because we know that always solution moves from higher concentration to the lower concentration to the higher concentration. Okay, this is the complete information about the chapter number 2. If you have any doubts, please comment in the comment section. Thank you very much.